Hi everyone, I'm Lindsey McNeill. Welcome back to my channel. It has been a year, and what a year it has been, right? We have survived 2020, so if you're here and coming back to me, welcome. It's been a while. I'm so glad that you're here. So we're back on the channel doing pick a card readings for your spiritual messages and what you most need to know at this time. If you want more astrology driven Tarotscopes, I actually have those free for every month, and the link is down below. You can connect to my website there. If you're into the pick a card readings and you really want more, I have a spiritual download available on my website called Future Visions. It's a choose your own adventure fortune telling booklet, and that'll go into kind of more detail of, the themes that'll probably come up here. But yeah, it's an opportunity to have some more fun and to be hopeful about the future, which I think is what we're all looking for. So lots of good stuff coming up. So what I want you to do is really look at the cards and trust your intuition on where you are guided. So I'm going to let you do that now, and you can jump to the timestamp below for your pick a card reading. So if you picked the first pile, renewal is really going to be a theme for you this year. The Sun card is about beauty. It's about awakening, feeling yourself again, feeling a lot of inspiration. And I think many of you actually need to hear that there is something to be hopeful for. Because the cards that follow speak to being at a halfway point. We have the Five of Inspiration, which is the Five of Wands in most of the decks, and the Five of Materials, the Five of Pentacles for those of you who are familiar with more traditional decks. I love this one though, it's so beautiful. So fives, when we see this, we're really at a halfway point. And so there's a lot of struggle, a lot of feeling of competition, that you really have to fight to be heard, that things have to be hard won in order to be valued. And finances or your sense of security is really being challenged for you this year. Definitely something that I think was happening in 2020 that is being brought into the fold. So these major energies from the Muse Tarot deck I've pulled forward to speak about what are the spiritual kind of rites of passage that you're going through right now. So there's an awakening around the five, the sense of that halfway point. How do you continue on? How do you keep going? Know that there is hope, and knowing that you are being fortified, kind of forged by fire. If you're a fan of that show, I watched it a lot during quarantine with my partner. I feel like I could design my own daggers now. It would be very cool. But here we are, right? There's a lot of confusion, a lot of looking outside of ourselves for the sense of satisfaction. And if you see here, we have the female that is just in the fetal position and just feeling so overwhelmed, and how do I continue forward? And maybe you're having a problem with connecting with your intuition, because we have the owl in reverse, and that is about psychic ability and clarity. So I think for you, you're really used to being connected to this sense of fate, or being pulled by threads of destiny, and you're not feeling that right now. I know a lot of people in the psychic realm are really, feeling cloudy right now. Not everything is supposed to be clear at this point. This is more about personal fortification. And I think what's really interesting here of what's going to happen, we have the Moon card. So there's an element of needing, I love the sun and the moon both come for you, right? So it's almost the descent. If we think of the myth of Persephone, right? And being in the light and being in the realm of material, and then having to walk through the dark night of the soul, the underworld, the parts of confusion, our inner psyche, our shadow work self. This is your path this year. Really getting a sense of who you are and what you value because of this struggle. So it's, I think, going to be really half and half, and you might experience a lot of those extremes of things are really, really good and things are really scary and really difficult, and you haven't been here before and you haven't walked through this path. Yeah, you're right. But there's such beautiful things waiting for you here. And we have the Queen of Pentacles and the Son of Pentacles. So these are characters that are involved in your life that are coming forward, and also characters that you're developing within yourself, characteristics. So slow and steady, allowing yourself to keep fortifying your plan, your dream, your movement forward. Absolutely, there is so much happening here that is really important to you, and you're not going to be doing this by yourself. The Three of Cups, the muses, the goddesses, is really about kind of meeting who you match and really attracting new people into your life that are here to support you and get you really excited about what's possible in life. So there's a lot of celebration here. So we see, and whenever I see any nakedness in the interpretation of the cards, I think about vulnerability. So I think a lot of the struggle is you've been doing this on your own for so long. You are now meeting other people on the path that are just as empathic and vulnerable and down the rabbit hole and you know, just as mystical and magical as you are. And I think you've really been missing out on that connection. I mean, we all have. It's been intense, right? So really, this year is about fortifying your worth and not identifying with material things as much, really getting into a sense of your spirituality, your soul, really communing with yourself and who you are and what you have to value when everything else is chaotic or kind of not happening. Who you are is the most important thing. So there's a lot of beauty happening as a result of that. Your desired outcome will occur in the very near future. Have patience and faith. Don't try to force this to happen. This is a theme that's been coming around a lot for me, that there is a very hyper masculine way of being in the world that's all about competition, ambition, achievement, hustling, you know, focusing a lot on material and for especially for women, being like good enough, proving ourselves that somehow we are not weak, we are not lesser than or second-class citizens just by being female. And there's a huge shift that's happening in the world right now towards the feminine and really embracing doing less and being more, and allowing intuition to guide, and you know, working behind the scenes, allowing spirit to do that on our behalf and working in co-creation with spirit. This is going to be happening for you. So I think being patient is going to be really important. Your mantras are so beautiful. I live my life on my own terms. So what you're bringing into the world, or how you're moving into business, your creativity, it's going to be very strange for yourself and others to kind of watch and witness, because it's not something that you're used to doing. I think this definitely hits upon that whole doing less and being more, and finding out exactly what that means for you, and letting other people's judgments of what that looks like, what productivity looks like, what well-being and nourishment looks like. Just allow that to throw out all expectations, and do not listen to criticism and judgment from others. Just tell them to stuff it. I'm allowed to feel good about myself. I think this is really what 2020 has brought into the world of, maybe you haven't really enjoyed where you've put your energy before, or how you've been working in the world, and it's felt like a lot of struggle and a lot of, you know, putting the arrows out there and not getting a lot of it back because you're not doing what you are supposed to be doing. There is something deeper in the spiritual realm and in the community of other people, particularly the community of women, that I think is going to be really important. I think some of you could be entrepreneurs that have been like throwing all of your energy out there and trying to be like, what is the thing? What do people want? You know, how do I connect to my ideal client? I mean, throw that away. Who are you, and who you are will naturally attract who wants what you have, right? So it's kind of a radical way of being. And it really discards this sense of achievement. So if you've picked this, many of you are probably recovering perfectionists like myself. and you're getting into this sense of the law of attraction and manifesting, and how you can be really intentional on what you want to experience and then move from that, instead of thinking about who you have to be good enough. So allowing yourself to feel good is really about nourishment, allowing your body to rest. The Five of Pentacles also speaks of the need for retreat, feeling left in the cold. There's a lot of comparison probably going on. And for some of you, I think if you feel that you slow down, you're going to be held back. Someone is going to get out in front of the game, and that is not the case. I think you're really dismantling this idea that things have to be hard to be worthy. And let's go back to the Sun card here, because this is the spiritual path for you. This is the major arcana. The fives are, you know, those quick moving suits of the minor arcana are just these plot points, if you think about it in terms of a movie or a story. Those are the plot points. The major arcana is the theme. So the theme of the Sun, of you awakening to your being, your energy, your vitality again, that is what you need to fortify. The Queen of Pentacles is here to do that for you. She's not the hustler. If this was the Queen of Swords, I'd be like, yes, get to it. No, do not do that. This is really about taking your time, being intentional, and allowing life to unfold with you. So this is really beautiful. That's your reading for January 2021. I think there's a lot of things that you can really set up for this. And just know that what you see and what you think the situation is not always what it seems. So something can seem like an obstacle, and the thing that's coming into me is rejection is, you know, our higher power's protection. So if you've lost something or you're struggling, there's a reason for that, and it's just pivoting and getting aligned on the right path for you. And I think that'll happen really quickly. So let me know what happens in the comments, because I'm so curious. This sounds wonderful. All right, group 2, there is a lot of really interesting energy around relationships for you and boundaries. There, we have the major arcana of the Lovers as one of your themes for 2021. And so there's something really important about choices and who you choose to be with and who you choose to have in your life. There are people that are coming forward and a soulmate connection, and there's also the karmic relationship. So deciphering between the two of them, I think, is going to be very important. I see you really needing to disconnect from someone that has brought in a lot of intensity into your life, and also needing to understand and maybe shift your perception of what love feels like and how you experience that. There's a lot of clarity coming forward with you around this, a lot of spiritual downloads. I see, obviously, our card yoga, exercise, meditation, I would say too, essential to your well-being and peace of mind, to like actually fortify what you need. And if you don't know how to connect with yourself, you're never going to have a boundary that anyone will respect, or that you will even know that you can have a boundary. So really delving into the physical this year is really important. Our oracle cards here really show different sides of yourself. And also I think can be a dynamic with someone else. So we have this steadfastness, this sense of being able to go without, to have endurance and faith, and to be able to traverse the desert with a lot of expectation that is positive and knowing what's right for you. And then this darker subversive side that wants to kind of play in the dark waters, right? The shark we have is a little bit of that predator, the hunter. And so I think there's some disconnect between positive sensuality and connection and something that feels more instant gratification or addictions, or something that's a bit darker and perhaps even having a predatory behavior yourself, or attracting someone that has that energy around you. If you're very open and very kind, sometimes when we grow in our own spiritual light, it can attract darker energies to us because they want that within themselves. And that's not to be afraid of. It's not about attracting dark energy or entities. It's just people that have not the best intentions for, wanting a long-term relationship or wanting to be authentic with you or honest or upfront. They just want what they want. And sometimes that can be very addictive on the receiving end of that. If someone is treating you like a drug, then it's like this intensity for you as well, that you get to feel special and desirable and rare. And that is a really toxic dynamic. I think a lot of people, especially on the internet right now, are really getting it twisted about what the twin flame experience actually is. And it's not, for myself and my experience with my twin flame experience, it is about a spiritual teacher. And sometimes that teacher comes, as an attack or a bite, to kind of shake up your experience. And of course, we attract what we are. And so it's not projecting into the realm of, oh, I just attract all this dark energy. It's no, there's the dark energy within ourselves that's not acknowledged, of we like that attention. We like feeling special and being someone that somebody else craves with an intensity that is just not rooted in truth or light, but it feels very intense. So we have two cards here. The Four of Pentacles and the Seven of Wands is all about those boundaries. So really keeping that energy at bay and really needing to do the work within yourself to identify that this is not real and it's not healthy, and to not go down that twisted spiral of calling something that is toxic, don't call it love, right? Call it a lesson, call it an important experience if you need to do that. But I think this year in particular is really about making the choice of, what actually fulfills and nourishes you. And so there is a part of you that knows that, and a part of you that is struggling with understanding that. There's so much fulfillment for you this year of, the happy family card. There's so much, like the 10 of Cups are all about not just getting everything that you wished for, but having enough to extend to others. And then there's another conflicting energy of what you're being offered isn't good enough. And so if you are healing your need for those intense relationships, when you have something that is more grounded and rooted in spiritual truth, and someone who actually sees you, you might feel bored. You're right. It's like this is an apathy towards a divine gift, and really focusing too much on what was past, that you don't really appreciate the gift that this is. There is an Ace of Cups feeling here, even though it did not show up in the reading. I'm feeling that very strongly, that this year you're really getting a stronger idea of relationship and what you need, and your relationship with yourself as well, which is really, really affirmed in your affirmations here. There is greatness in my life. So some of you really need to hear that there is a lot to be appreciative of, that you are gifted, that you are someone of value and someone who is valuable. But just really getting that. And again, if you've been in those kind of situations of a lot of intensity and you're really healing from that, it might feel like, right, you're traversing the desert with no end in sight of, am I ever going to fall in love again? Am I ever going to feel this way, this connection? Just this sense of what it takes to really move forward from this situation might be long-term, hard healing. But worth it, because the real is so much better. I choose to surround myself with people who lift my energy. And I think that's what we're really talking about, those boundaries, is when you start connecting with yourself, you get a stronger sense of who drains you and what situation drains you. And especially if you're on that roller coaster of intensity, the damage of coming down from the crash and what that does for you and how you are able to be in the world. So think about it this way. How much energy does this take from other people that you need to give into your life? Your family, your friends. How much creative energy does this situation that you've either been in or come out of, how much did it rob of your creative energy, your sense of self, your confidence, your self-worth? When you start looking at it like that, it is easier to detach from that kind of repetitive cycle of needing to repeat the pattern when you know how much it costs you spiritually. And so I just want to show this card again. There's so much more to experience, but you really need to push away what is not meant for you and what doesn't feel good. And so really owning that experience for yourself and really understanding, that in order to have this sense of the lovers, right? It's about being met and matched. It's a true experience, but you need to let go of what's not real. So I think that's it for our group 2 reading. I think there's a lot of journaling that could be happening here for you, or I would encourage you to write about, some of the thoughts and feelings, pull your own cards, check out your Tarotscopes that are free below, and read, the signs of the other person involved. That might help you too, because it might give you some perspective on their spiritual path. And so it's not really about being regret-filled about the experience, but just really getting that you're moving into something that requires more support, more authenticity, and I think there's something exciting about that when you start thinking of what can I be capable of when I'm really in touch with myself and I have a partner that really sees me, really gets me, and doesn't bring all this chaos bullshit into my life. Because I tell you, it is an exciting path to move past the lesson into the true experience. And that is absolutely available for you this year. Just needing a few more reminders of shaking off the old energy. So I wish you luck on that group 2. Definitely comment below if this resonates for you. And we'll see you next month. Hi group 3. So here's your reading, and it's really beautiful because there are some major changes happening for you this year. And I see a lot of you are starting to take a new path of really developing your spirituality, your psychic ability, your sense of intuition. And this is really guided by divine celestial blessings. So we have two major arcana cards for you. So we have the Star, which is really about connecting to that new age of enlightenment for yourself, and the Fool. And this is beautiful. This is about taking on new energy, new chapter, new sense of purpose, and that you're really being led by spirit. I see that very strongly for you. I see that you are definitely a starseed individual who is here for a purpose and a mission. I think it's really time that you started sharing a lot of your spiritual gifts and your talents. Some of you might be called to write, called to study energy or crystals or tarot. Anything that really lights your soul. There is a sense of you needing to forge a new ground for yourself and really find a way to connect your life, your business into this spiritual realm. We have two tens here, so this is more of like the path of what's going to unfollow this year for you, and how you're going to connect to your sense of purpose is really going to be individual. So there's a lot that you are going to be taking on yourself, and maybe you're starting your own business or throwing yourself into a new project, and there's going to be yes, it's divinely inspired, and yes, it's going to be difficult and require endurance. And so let me be the messenger for you right now that just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do, because I think that's really important for you to hear. An experience of like what's going to happen. I see you are there's a lot of connecting into the work that you do or the energy that you bring into situations. Three of Pentacles does bring different experiences and energies together into like I guess just mix it into the cauldron, right? There's like, you know, the soup of others, which sounds really disgusting. I've said that out loud. But you know, everybody pooling their resources. That's what I'm trying to say. Pooling their resources together. So it's that balance between I almost feel like if some of you are entrepreneurial, that you will be finding other people that are in the realm of what you're doing, coming together for support, but still doing a lot of this work on your own. And so the tens, it's the tens of the height of stress, the height of effort, the height of pushing this project or this venture to its conclusion. And, you know, feeling perhaps out of the result of this right now, very depleted and like, how do I go on? And maybe I'm not doing this right. I think for some of you, this spiritual realm is also bringing up a lot of old trauma and some things that you haven't fully dealt with. I think you've skipped over the surface, or you've had some experience of like getting therapy for this, but there's a sense of there's still a bit of residual left for you to clear out so you can move forward with this project. I'm hearing a lot of you are writing or communicating something. So if you're working on a book or putting some sort of proposal together where you're communicating, there's a lot here for you that absolutely, I think it's going to be really well received, but you need support. And so when I show you this one too, group one had this card as well in a different deck. And so this to me is really about energy depletion and feeling not supported, and really having this sense of like, I've had to do everything on my own, and I don't want to feel that way anymore. I want to feel, you know, I want to get back into community. And so there is a community here waiting for you, but I see it more almost in a mentorship, someone that is intelligent and really clever. We have the fox here. So this is, I feel, someone that is guiding you into a realm of the spirit. Fox, like this is my spirit animal that I see continuously in the north. which is amazing and very mystical for me. But to me, I see this as like finding the spiritual guide in the material realm for you to follow and really understand how they committed to their path, how they support themselves, how do they reach out to others for support. Because, you know, even when we're doing things and projects on our own, we're not supposed to do everything ourselves. Like, we don't do life alone. And so for some of you, there is this masculine character that's coming forward, someone with a lot of clarity and leadership and discernment, and they may, you know, they can be masculine and female as a gender, or non-binary, but it's more of their energy. Their energy is masculine. This is about completion and tying up loose ends and really moving forward in a way that is about achievement and getting a clearer sense of self through that capacity and that connection with this person. So really, really magical stuff here for you. I think it's just beautiful. Yes, and okay, so we also want to say this. I think some of you are hesitant of moving forward because where is the money going to come from? Is this sense that I'm getting here. And so I think, you know, we have the oracle here that as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, prosperity will find you. So there is this leap of faith of the Fool that you need to take. There is a spiritual download of like these ideas that you have are your directives from the spiritual realm. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Your mantra: I acknowledge my own self-worth and my confidence is soaring. So this is something that's really going to unfold in January, and I think throughout 2020 as something that's really important to you, that as you honor those mystical calls and how this teacher comes into your life, I think is going to be really wild. I have control over my thoughts and feelings. So this is really important when we talk about delving into the realm of healing and the spiritual path, is knowing that there are times where we're walking through the dark and walking through our own shadow and our own hurts and feelings. So I'm returning to these cards here for you. The 10 of Swords is a completion of betrayal, a completion, the end of a hard time. So it's like you're at the height of the trauma, of the burden, of the pain. You're feeling it in such a different way. And the more that you're in tune with yourself, the more those things of the past can really sting and hurt. And it's like this rite of passage needs to happen. For the 5 right here is when we see like just like being really wilted, and so maybe perhaps not having the energy or feeling like you don't have the stamina to do all that's required of you. And just know that's a passing feeling. Pentacles are about our energy, so you need more support. How do you do that? Well, there's the 3 of Pentacles. You need to have, and maybe for some of you it's very literal, who are the 3 people in your corner that have your back, that have that, you know, the triangle of prosperity and support. You know, think of the tripod, right? We don't do everything by ourselves. We need, you know, the stability of our family or our social circle, whoever you find support with. And so these, whoops, hey, I like that he turned upside down because you're getting over it. This is of our mind and this is of our energetic body, right? And so these are not necessarily things that are true, but things that pass through us. They, I think the key here for you is to really acknowledge the spirituality that you have, and to really acknowledge the cycles and the importance, the rites of passage that happen as you go through this sense of renewal and discarding and getting the stuff out. For you, I relate to this a lot because I'm literally writing my memoir and having to push through the last little bits of some of the dark feelings that are coming up. So I'm sharing this because I think some of you might literally be having that or relate to that creative experience of I just don't want to go there and feel that again. And so there's this avoidance, right? Or a disconnect or a shutdown of ourselves. The importance is there is such freedom on the other side of that, and that we can, be outside the cave and return to what happened without going into the cave. So it's not stirring up the trauma, it's not using our stories, especially if you're doing a spiritual business, not using your story as exploitation, but use it as inspiration, not instruction. Does that make sense? There's a very different thing there, and really knowing when is the time that you're ready to share the story, and you share the wound, you share the scar, not the wound. If you're sharing the wound, then it's absolutely, you're in the realm of overwhelm, and it's too much too soon. And unfortunately, what happens a lot is we get these inspirations and we think, oh, I have to like tell everything about me. And really, if I want to attract my people or my clients or have this book sold or my projects to be really appreciated, that I have to expose myself completely. And the star, remember, she has she's naked here too. Nakedness is vulnerability, right? The star is that super vulnerable soul, and we want to be there, but we want to be there from a place of healing and not exploiting ourselves, not revealing too much too soon. And so it's really getting under an understanding of where those lines are for you. And I think a lot of that comes through having that teacher that can really show you of, this is too much, or like there's someone that really asks you those questions of like, how does this actually feel in your body when you think about doing this? And yes, it's exciting, and it can be like fearful to like move forward and share your soul. But sharing your story when it's unhealed is damage to you. And I think some of you need to hear that there's some patience required, definite instruction. Do not try to figure this out all by yourself. And if some of you are kind of thinking about getting a therapist, I am such an advocate for self-help, and I feel like I am who I am because I've had really good teachers and really good guidance. And that's in the physical realm, not just in the spirits, but I also shout out to my spiritual guides. So yeah, there's such inspiration and something for you to really share. And if you're thinking about producing something and it's feeling really exciting thinking about it, this is an affirmation that that's absolutely what you're supposed to be doing. But do not trudge the road by yourself. Does that make sense? Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Group 3. That is your reading. Again, if you're interested in any more, check out the Tarotscopes that are free at the bottom of the links here. I also have that fortune, Future Visions, Choose Your Own Adventure fortune-telling book. It feels like a mouthful, but it's a lot of fun, and it's something that you can return to in a few months too if you need more guidance and see if you're drawn to a different message. Otherwise, enjoy. Good luck with everything that you're creating, and we'll see you next month.